Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, but maybe probably just gentlemen and like one or two ladies, to the first inaugural Q&A for the channel. 3K subs. I know it's an odd number, but yeah, 3K subs is awesome. I know it doesn't sound like a lot to many, but it's kind of a big deal to me. So I wanted to do a Q&A and go over some stuff that you guys might have questions about for me. So that's what this is going to be, and let's just go ahead and dive right into it. So, question number one, kind of kicking it off with a really good one. What do you think about the classic red 4, blue 4 bad, especially in today's meta? I gotta be honest, I don't really think it's particularly relevant anymore, at least for top tier. The whole blue 4 versus red 4 thing was really probably in its peak after Fox 3s were added, SU27SM and 16C and 15C, kind of like that era. And it was really just kind of like, blue 4 players were essentially like always had the best stuff, and red 4 was always on the back end. And that's kind of where it came out from, and it was for a very long period. And that was pretty prevalent for a while. You would see a lot in the Discords, even in mine. A lot of people would be like, oh, blue 4 bad, and I hate blue 4 mains, and it was kind of like a personality thing. It was also kind of a bit at the same time, but for some it wasn't. But for today, I really don't think it's particularly relevant. A lot of blue 4 and red 4 nations are kind of changing hands as far as who's the best and who's the worst. But I really think with the Euro canards, that was kind of the nail in the coffin, because when the Euro canards were top with the Rafale and the Eurofighter, and even the Gripen, they're swing nations, right? They can play on any nation. It doesn't matter. So it was usually, who does France have on their team? Is it red 4? Is it blue 4? Right? So I don't really think it's particularly relevant anymore, especially with the SM2 being kind of top dog. So, but yeah. Question 2 coming at us from Mr. Cletus. Europe tour when? Brother, I am not made of money, all right? Probably never. And if I do, it's going to be a vacation with my lovely wife, and it's not going to include any of you bozos, all right? How did you find War Thunder and then get into Sim? My good buddy, ID, Mr. Peep Pepe, he's actually kind of the one that got me into both War Thunder and Sim. I was still am, in a group called Task Force Sentinel. It's an Arma group. It's a little bit of lore, but that's kind of like what got me into like Discord and like internet gaming was Arma 3. And this group of guys that I've been playing with for years, one of the guys, ID, was playing War Thunder, I think with another guy, Roosted, I think it was him, and they're playing Ground RB, and they were playing Shermans or something, I don't know, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then like I thought about it for like months and months, and I was like, man, that game looks so much fun. And I was like, I just need to pull the trigger. And I kept telling myself that for months and months. I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to do it. And then I started playing it, and then I started playing it with them, and then I started playing with more guys in the group, and then played it for quite a while, for a couple years. And then ID, same guy, I saw him playing Airsim, and I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And then I tried it, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I think I was playing like a US prop or something. And I would flat spin everywhere. We'd fly around with smoke on because I had no idea who was who, and it was just a total shit show. And stopped playing it for months, and then I eventually just kind of picked it up on a whim. I was like, that was really fun. Let's try it again. And I think I was playing like the F5C or something. And then the F16C came out, and I was like, okay, this is sick because it has an HMD and all this stuff. And F16 was just kind of like the best at the time with the 9Ms, right? And so I just kind of took it and ran, and ever since then I've been playing exclusively, essentially 99% just Airsim. So thanks, ID. This may be a question you've already answered on stream. It is, and that's totally fine. But what do you do outside of YouTube? Jobs, sports, college, etc. If so, what? And this comes at us from Physic59. For jobs, I kind of keep that close to the chest. Obviously, I don't want my employer to be like public information. So for jobs, it's just I work in the tech industry for manufacturing. For sports, man, I haven't played sports since high school. I was a track runner and a hurdler. Actually, that was my niche. High hurdles, stuff like that. But I haven't played sports since then. Like the military, after I went into the Marines, like I guess that's kind of like a sport, whatever. But yeah, I not really into sports, and nor do I really watch sports. Like, my wife and I like to go to hockey games sometimes, and those are really fun, but I really wouldn't consider myself like a hockey fan. Like, I don't follow it or watch it, but I do like watching hockey sometimes, right? But I don't watch it regularly. And then college, dude, I did college for a term, and it just is not for me. It's just, I was a horrible student in high school, and just that kind of platform of learning, lecturing and stuff like that, it just doesn't compute. I get nothing out of it, and it's a waste of money. So I did it for a term just to try it, right? Because I was GI Bill, it was basically free, and so I was like, I owe it to myself to at least give it a shot, and I was like, yeah, this sucks. So I stopped. Do you plan on ever switching to stick, or are you going to keep playing the same and teaching the art of mouse and keyboard? No, I don't ever plan on going back to stick. For those that don't know, I tried stick for a little bit. I've tried essentially like a combination of any control you could think of for War Thunder Sim, and dude, mouse and keyboard is just so much simpler. And it's what I've been using for years now, and I would be insane to switch at this moment. So no, I have zero plans on changing, and I will continue to spread the good word of War Thunder Sim on just a mouse and a keyboard. How do you think sim battles in War Thunder can be improved? This is a pretty hard question to answer because there's a lot of possibilities here. But I really think one of the main reasons why we don't have a lot of players in Sim is because of how hard it is to grind stuff out in Sim. I think that's kind of like the root cause. Yeah, Sim is more difficult. Yeah, it's harder to learn. Yeah, there's a bigger learning curve. But I think if people had an incentive to do it, we would get a lot more people in it. Just look for the events, right? Why do we get such an influx of players during events? Because Sim is easier to grind out events in. Who would have guessed? If you give people a mode in a very grindy game that maybe gives them an edge to reduce that grind, right? Maybe more people are likely to play it. So my biggest improvement would be to make some slight adjustments. Not anything crazy, right? We don't want to bring back the abusive bot players for Sim, but some slight adjustments to the economy. I think that would be huge for War Thunder. Huge, specifically for Sim. My first thing would be reducing the costs for repairs in Sim, right? Because Sim's different than RB. Every single flyout you die, you pay full repair costs, right? So I would probably do a percentage reduction for repair costs, like maybe anywhere between 25 to 40% just for Sim, right? Sim has their own kind of repair costs. And then I would probably increase the rewards per useful actions a little bit with less of an incentive on like returning back to base. So when you go to rearm, right, you get that percentage bonus, or I don't know if it's a percentage, but you get a bonus for landing successfully. I would probably just increase your overall rewards and maybe add just like a small amount of reward for every action you get. So like for RB, when you get a kill, you get a set amount of rewards, right? I would probably just give people like a little bit of a breadcrumb, right? Not a ton, but just a little bit on top of the useful actions. But what I'm getting at is basically take useful actions, look at it, make some adjustments, and make Sim more rewarding for RP and SL. Will I ever have text-to-speech for supporters from Mr. Zever? No, I don't think so. No, I don't want to have anything paywalled on the channel. If I'm going to get text-to-speech, it's going to be for everybody. Probably not for supporters. So, no. Mr. Sir Swede asks, what jet will you enjoy the most in Air Sim, no matter the bracket? I really do think it's a J11B. I don't really play it at top tier, but I think if I were to, I probably wouldn't do particularly good, but I think I would still probably enjoy it. But that thing is just so much fun. 13.7, 14.0, it doesn't really matter. It's just such a fun jet. I love it. Have you ever thought of joining the Air Force, asks Plane Lover. I mean, like, maybe for a fleeting second when I was in high school trying to figure out what branch I was going to go into, but I was, like, pretty certain I was just going to go into the Marines. Like, that was kind of what I chose, like, right off the bat. So, and obviously, since I've been out, like, no, I've never thought of going back in the military. So, like, have I ever? Like, maybe for, like, a microsecond when I was a kid, but no, not really. Are you ever going to do an IRL vlog once you do a face reveal? No, absolutely not. I'm kind of a private person, so I don't really want that on the internet. What is the most overrated plane in Sim? It's gotta be the Vegans. It has to be. I despise them so much. I really don't like them. I think they're ass. Their playstyle is boring. They're fast, and that's about it. So, like, the ones that get 9Ls at, like, what, 11.7 or something around that, 11.3. It's just boom and zoom. You fly around and shoot missiles and miss shots and then run away. It's just, I hate them. I think they're so overrated. Name a Vigan, and it's pretty cheeks. It's good at, like, one thing, and that's about it. Got a multi-parter. So first one's going to be, how was your journey in the military? Can you tell us a funny story? Overall, it was good. Overall, it was really good. Taught me a lot, and I grew up pretty quick. So it was definitely a very necessary thing for me, and it's definitely opened up a lot of doors for me down the road in, like, adult life for careers and stuff. Funny story, we were doing a training range, and it was in this gigantic mock fake city. It's like essentially the size of like 5 or 6, well, maybe not that big, maybe like 3 city blocks. Anyways, and we were done. And when you're done with one of these things, you have to go through as a group, platoon, company, battalion, whatever, and clean it all up. And you got to clean up all the brass, all the rounds you shoot, all the explosives, just everything, right? Just kind of leave it better than you found it. And this was a gigantic multi-day range. It's like supposed to kind of emulate assaulting like an urban facility. It was made after Fallujah to help with stuff like that. And we had a whole battalion there, so hundreds of guys, and this place was super dirty. And we use these things called artillery simulators. The role players will basically ignite them and then toss them at you, and it has a whistle, and it sounds like an incoming shell, and then it explodes, and it's supposed to simulate like incoming fire.
Artie Sim. Holy fucking dog shit.
And when we were cleaning up the city, I found one and thought it was a dud, or it had to have been. And I was like, oh, cool, whatever, it's just like flash powder or something. And I opened it up and was like looking at it, and I was like, oh guys, watch this. And I poured all of it onto my hand, and I don't know why I thought it was gonna be like this magician's, like, you know what I mean, like everything goes up and like the magician disappears or whatever. I thought that's what it was gonna look like. Little did I know it's actually TNT, and like it's very explosive. And I poured it all out on my hand, and I lit it, and I had the biggest blister on my hand for days. I mean, I was wearing what's called a fire retardant outer garment, which is shortened to frog, and it's supposed to not catch on fire. It caught on fire, and my whole wrist was burned, my whole hand was burned, the palm of my left hand was burned, and we were doing a range. This whole thing was to get ready for deployment, and if you don't finish it, you don't deploy. And so, like, I went to my sergeant, I was like, look, dude, like, I just burnt the shit out of my hand. I just need to go see the corpsman. I just need to get it looked at, get it bandaged, and I'm gonna get some antibiotic cream. I'm gonna keep it clean. I'm not gonna let it get infected. I'm gonna keep going. And he's like, all right, if you gotta go back to the barracks, like, you're not deploying. So I ended up getting through it all, but it was bad. It was really bad. Favorite hobby, definitely working on cars. I got a 280Z that I've been working on since I was in high school with my dad. So definitely car stuff. Favorite places to visit, I think, would probably be Vancouver, Canada. My wife and I have been up there quite a few times, and it's always just so much fun. It's such a cool town, such a cool city. Favorite food I make, mac and cheese, man. Homemade mac and cheese. I don't know. It's just my go-to easy comfort meal. It's just so good. How many cats have you had throughout your whole life? 5. I had 2 growing up, Mimi, Max, and then I have 3 now as an adult. Boots, Cheddar, and Turd. First device that got me into gaming, I mean, it's got to be the Nintendo 64. That was like my core memory as far as like gaming. I make maybe the Game Boy Color. I mean, I did. One of my buddies growing up had one of those, and like that's my first memory of like a game, quote unquote, console. and then we got an N64. So, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up between either of those. What do I feel when I hit 3K? Dude, a lot of excitement. This is awesome. This is farther than I ever thought I was going to get, so grateful and excited. Would you do other types of sim content, for example, team battles between members of your Discord, at least 5v5 without Fox 3s, from Rumia? I mean, yes, but not like for like a base content, if that makes sense. Like for events from time to time, yeah, absolutely. Like we do tournaments for sub milestones. And it is kind of something that I want to get into more and start hosting more events for the community as a whole, specifically like tournament style stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, but will it ever like be a core content? No, it'll probably just be something we do from time to time, if that makes sense. Okay, this is a tough one. Favorite anime opening and ending. The opening is tough, and I've actually thought about this one for a bit, and I can't really decide. So it's gonna be a tie between Bluebird from Shippuden and the Rumbling from Attack on Titan. The Rumbling is just so good, dude. Like, it's like I'm really big into metal, and like it's just like it scratches a lot of itches for me. But Bluebird is just like, I think for me, like the most iconic for me personally. And it's just like, I don't know, the melodies are just so good, and it's just, I don't know, great song. But for ending, it's gonna be Great Escape from Attack on Titan for sure. I'm a big Attack on Titan fanboy, so it's kind of like I'm kind of biased, but those are my personal favorite. Favorite prototype is gotta be F16 XL. It's just so cool. And then favorite plane IRL is the F16. Just the way it looks, man, the aesthetics of it are just awesome. Its flight performance is cool. Like, it was very revolutionary and one of a kind kind of at the time. So it's just such a cool looking plane, man. It's definitely my favorite. I wonder who this could be from. How much water do you drink a day? Do you drink enough of it? Like raw water? No, I do not drink enough of it. How much do I drink? Oh man. Not a lot. I don't know. I just don't drink a lot of water. Maybe a couple glasses, maybe a glass, maybe none. I don't know. It really just depends. If you include like, cause sometimes I'll drink like a powdered energy drink thing that I'll put in water. So like if you count that, then like, I don't know, like 32 ounces a day, maybe on average, maybe less. I don't know. It really varies. It really varies. If I start getting a headache, then I'll pound water. I'll drink a couple liters in that day, but yeah, not a lot. Well, this went a little bit longer than I was going to expect, but I really kind of wanted to go through all of the questions that I thought deserved to be answered. There was like some meme ones and stuff, but yeah, I appreciate everybody that inputted a question. And yeah, this is for the 3K, which is awesome. And I appreciate everybody's support and continued watching the streams and the content and just being generally nice. This has been really fun. I mean, there's been some lows, which really aren't very many, if I really got to think about it. Like, they're all pretty fleeting. So for the most part, literally like 99.99% of the time, this has been awesome experience. So, and it wouldn't be awesome if it wasn't for you guys, and I really do appreciate it. So I don't know when the next Q&A is going to be for the next milestone. Probably like 10K. We'll see. I kind of want to give a decent amount of time between these. I don't want to be very repetitive because people are going to run out of questions, right? So, but yeah, anyways, I appreciate all your guys' support, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.